Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Monday morning. It is the 22nd day of January, 2024. This is the morning briefing coming to you from the home weather office. And as I look out the window from the home weather office, it is cloudy. We've had occasional rain. Now, during the overnight, some areas saw a lot of rain, some areas not as much. It's really an interesting case study about what happened during the overnight and how the models tried to predict it, and in some areas failed, and in other areas succeeded spectacularly. So with a wide variety of outcomes from the overnight, usually I spend this briefing talking about what is going to happen, and I will, but I'm going to start with what did happen, especially what's happened within just the last few hours. So I'm going to go to the radar. Now I picked this up around 12:30 last night, and it goes through about 3:15 in the morning. A really interesting pattern here. You see areas like Sacramento and Elk Grove and Solano County not getting that much rain, getting rain. But if you look at this line here that runs south of Yuba City, up toward the Wheatland area, up toward Beale Air Force Base, these areas saw a lot of rain. See how this line just continued. And again, this is covering 3 hours. So you can see we had hours and hours, a couple of hours, I should say, of rain, and at a pretty heavy rate north of Lincoln. So again, the area around Wheatland, Beale Air Force Base, and then certainly continuing into eastern Butte County. Farther to the north, we had this up here as well. So areas like Paradise and Magalia also saw a lot of rain. Then there's this break, and then the San Joaquin County areas also saw some pretty good rain, although it was not as heavy as up here. Now, this is depicted in the rainfall totals. Some of these numbers may be a little bit hard to read, but let me try to zoom in on this. Gets a little bit squirrely when I zoom in. But you can see here in Wheatland, 3 inches of rain. The Yuba County Airport, 2.37. But if you come down just a little bit farther to the south toward the Lincoln and Roseville area, these are 24-hour totals, by the way, 24-hour totals, about a half an inch of rain. And around Sacramento, also a half an inch of rain. And so a half an inch of rain over 24 hours isn't going to cause you any issues. But then you go farther to the south where we get back into that other line of rain around the Stockton area. We're up to 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, and about 1.33 inches here in Modesto. And you can also see that in the foothills. Let me come up here to the foothills. Areas in El Dorado County, not bad, about a half an inch of rain. But as you go farther to the north, the totals certainly went way up. So really interesting how areas like Sacramento saw modest amounts of rain, whereas you didn't have to go very far to the north before you saw some really good rain. Now the models almost nailed this, almost. So I'm going to show you the way the HRRR depicted this yesterday morning. And so this is total precipitation. And as you can see, it shows Sacramento at 1.56. So this is forecasting 1.5 inches of rain in Sacramento, with areas north of Sacramento, so that area of red and extending into Butte County. So what it was depicting was an area, a rather small area with a lot of rain, and areas south of that quite a bit less rain. It almost nailed it. But that's why I often say that when you look at the models, especially things like precipitation totals, and especially in a case like this, you really can't take the models at face value. Back when I was in college learning about all this stuff, they taught us that the models are not the solution. They're just guidance. It's not a model solution. It is model guidance. The model is trying to guide you in the direction of what may happen, not tell you necessarily what is going to happen. So in this case, it's a great case study to show that, yes, the models were depicting a relatively narrow area that could get a lot of rain, like Wheatland getting 3 inches of rain, and in Yuba City and the Marysville area getting more than 2 inches of rain. That certainly panned out. But if you looked at the Sacramento number, you'd say that it missed it completely because it forecast 1.5 inches of rain, whereas we ended up with a half an inch of rain. So, like I said, interesting case study. All right, let's go to what is going to be happening as we go through the rest of the day in the next couple of days. So we're not quite done with the range just yet. I'm going to show you the morning HRRR, and so this picks it up early this morning. And as we get into the afternoon, this is around noontime, most of the activity will be in the Sierra. Snow continues above 6,000 feet. There'll be chain controls up throughout much of the day. But what happens as we get into the late afternoon, see these little bubbles begin to pop up over the coast range and drift down into the valley. The HRRR is pretty bullish on these being thunderstorms popping up. And this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Still plenty of sunlight for these to go. Sun doesn't go down now until about 5:15. And these could drift down over the valley, certainly in areas like Marysville, Woodland, Sacramento, Elk Grove, and Chico would be areas where we could see some of these thunderstorms, and then they would dissipate shortly after that. But that's one of the things we'll be looking at this afternoon is the possibility of thunderstorms. They would be developing basically over the coast range and then trying to make their way down into the valley. I don't think they would necessarily make their way all the way across the valley up Highway 20 to a place like Grass Valley, but they usually don't. But if they develop up over the coast range, they can drift down over the valley and impact areas like Sacramento, Woodland, and Elk Grove. So that's what we're going to be looking at for the rest of the day is the possibility of thunderstorms developing anywhere between, let's say, 2 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. So that's our short-term outlook. Let's look at the NAM. The NAM, pick it up tomorrow morning. This is just kind of some residual noise in the model, if you will. We'll most likely have mainly clear skies tomorrow morning, and fog would likely be an issue with clearing skies and light winds. Then we look ahead to our next chance of rain. This is Wednesday at 4 a.m. A little wave coming through. This isn't a biggie. This is something that may deliver 1/4 inch of rain, a few inches of snow in the Sierra. The time here is late morning on Wednesday, so we have rain from Stockton to the north. We have snow on Interstate 80 and Highway 50 above 6,000 feet. Again, we'll be talking about inches of snow, but enough that there will be chain controls up throughout much of the middle part of the day Wednesday and probably into Wednesday night, with all of this dissipating as we go through Wednesday night, and then Thursday would be dry. And it also looks as though beyond that will be dry for a while. So the couple of things to talk about today is, yes, we'll be looking at the possibility of thunderstorms in the areas that I mentioned this afternoon. Tuesday's a dry day, but we could have morning fog. And then on Wednesday, a modest system goes through, talking about 1/4 inch of rain and just enough snow that there will be chain controls for a while during the day on Wednesday. We'll go through the exact timing on all that over the next day or so. And speaking of going forward, yes, I'll be back in the office today. I'll be back into productive society today. So I'll be in the studio 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and 11 to guide you through whatever thunderstorms we're looking at, as well as the next chance of rain in the middle part of the week. So that's everything I've got for you this morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.